Hello, who are you and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Athena, and I am from LA.
And you said you were a bit of a army brat, so you moved around as a kid?
Yes, my mother was in the service, and so I've lived in a lot of different states, and we also lived in Central America.
And we are here in a farmer's market in LA. Does it have a name?
Oh yes, it's the Hollywood Farmers Market, and it has been going since 1991.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And have you been here before? I mean, has this been here other years?
Now, I was hired during the pandemic, so I have not been a vendor working at the farmers market before 2020.
Oh, okay. And you said, so do you have any idea of how this market was last year versus this year or anything like that?
Well, just from my own observation as a vendor and selling granola products, I have noticed that it has returned. There's lots of people out and about, now. During the pandemics, people came out, but you didn't have as many. And yes, there was a hit to business for sure.
And so how has the year been for you? Everybody here has to wear masks, even outdoors. LA
Yes.
right now is in the yellow zone, which means that it's the second lowest, or second best anyway, level. And Biden has recently said that if you're vaccinated and you're outside, that you don't have to wear a mask. But this is a crowd, and everybody's been asked to wear masks.
That's correct.
And,
if they want to be in the farmers market, correct.
And so the recently here now in the beginning of May, the business is coming back.
Yes, it's definitely made a comeback for sure, because I think that most people are feeling more confident because they've had an opportunity to perhaps have the vaccine administered to them.
So how long have you been working here?
So I've been working, oh my gosh, I don't have the best memory, but I want to say that I was hired in late spring of last year. And
Last year? You worked through the whole...
Yeah, I worked through the whole pandemic.
The whole pandemic?
Right. Because before that I was a stay-at-home wife. So, and before that my career was in the dental field. So yeah, I started working for my neighbors.
And so you it must have gone down to next to nothing, and was it closed for a while?
The farmers market?
Yeah.
Oh it was never next to nothing, but it was a lot less people because people were just not feeling confident. They either had somebody in their families that had COVID, or maybe they had COVID, or they were dealing with, just the isolation.
And so sales were way down, but you never closed.
No. And actually they weren't terrible. It wasn't way down, oh my gosh, It was always okay. This Hollywood Farmers Market stays fairly busy, even through the pandemic. It stayed fairly busy. Excuse me, not busy.
And how about your personal life? Have you been masking and distancing and?
Yes, I have. So it's just my husband and I in our household. So obviously together we are not masking up for each other, but we have refrained from, having visitors over. I have my second shot, so I'm good now, but I try to be very courteous of other people's wishes, even though I don't believe that it's necessary to have a mask on outside while you're distanced. Maybe if you're close with people as you're completing the transaction, but having a mask on at all times outside, it's a lot.
Were you worried about getting the vaccination?
Yes, I did have some concerns. I did.
And did you get the Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson or?
I got Pfizer.
And what were your concerns?
My concerns were, I think like a lot of other people, that the vaccine was developed fairly quickly. The other thing is that we haven't had years to see how the side effects, how the vaccine interacts with your body. If it's going to cause an autoimmune disorder or, whatever. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, of course I had those concerns.
But you decided to, what was the tipping point?
Well, most of my friends and family members have had the vaccine, and so you know, and I talked it over with them. I told them, oh, I was a bit concerned, but they tried to alleviate my concerns. And also just, I'm at the farmer's market and I'm interacting with lots of people. And so I just want to feel like if I do contract COVID, which I hope I don't, that it will lessen the effects and help me out that way. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like during the pandemic there was a lost opportunity to also tell people, take this time to really get yourself in shape. You know, eat well, get lots of rest, drink lots of water. Instead, it was just stay socially distanced and, you know, so, and wear a mask. But yeah, so anyhow.
Well, how do you think the government reacted? Did they? I know there's differences between the local government and the federal, but how do you think the government overall reacted? Was it over the hill or over the top, or just about right?
Hi, Hassan. I feel like I really feel unqualified to answer that in a very fair way. I mean, obviously, I can tell you as a Los Angelino that I felt like, wow, they really closed things down and you know, life got quite difficult for people. Thank golly Wally, not for myself and my husband, but you know, that my husband was at home suddenly. He was no longer going and commuting to his office, you know, to go to work. And so then that's me and my husband are spending a lot more time together, and wow, talk about getting to know you. No, I love him to death. We've been together almost 20 years. So anyhow, but yeah, for a lot of people though, it was good for us, but a lot of folks, you know, they're getting locked in with their abusers or, you know.
So, I mean, that was another question I had for you.
Yeah.
I mean, what anything good happened this year to you? I mean, you had more time with your spouse.
You know, I want to say that I had more time with my spouse. I got to spend the last year of my dog's life, you know, with him, and like my husband was there too. So, and just really, it allows you the time to think. I took everything for granted, right? It's like you take advantage of things, and then when they're shut down or pulled away from you, you're like, oh, gee golly. I should have appreciated that more. I like when things are open.
Well, that's another question, I guess. Usually the final question, but I'll get to it because you're almost there now. Did it change the way you look at life and death?
Yes.
and
Yes, it
and how?
absolutely. Well, it made me, you know, like I said, my husband and I were lucky because we've been healthy and we have a single family home here in LA. A lot of people don't have single family, they don't own their home, you know. And so we were talking to some of my husband's colleagues who, they just have apartments with no balconies, you know, so they didn't have any outdoor space. I had time to go out and garden, and that allowed me a lot of time to think. Well, garden, hello, who am I kidding? Pull weeds. But, you know, it allowed me time to think about what's really, truly important, you know, family, and just making the most out of the time that you're here. Because I feel like I blink my eyes and, you know, I'm my age and I'm going, oh my gosh, where did the time go? So yes, and I was very thankful to be able to spend more time with my husband. So
At the same time, you were distancing from friends
that was hard.
and family.
Yeah.
You know, maybe at Christmas and holidays and like Thanksgivings. Did this increase your anxiety level? Were you worried about loved ones?
I was, because, well, and I was worried about, you know, their mental health, especially the elder members of our family, you know, being told that they can't see their grandchildren, or being told that they can't, you know, see us or whatever. It was tough on them, and of course you worry about those things, but thank golly for Zoom, you know, and FaceTime and you know, other apps, Skype and all that allow you the opportunity to see each other, you know, just to be able to, oh, hey, how are you? You look good, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So going forward, last question, where do you think we're headed? Are these vaccinations going to make things go back to normal? Or are we going to mask is that going to be the new normal, masking up and vaccinations? What do you think's in our future?
I think if I've been paying attention and reading correctly and listening, What I do feel is that, yes, I do feel that we are going to have a vaccinated future. The other thing is for myself, I cannot speak for others, but I will be wearing a mask when it is public transportation situations, you know. Like I used to live in Chicago. We used to ride the L train. You're crammed in there during rush hour kind of thing. And hi there. So my husband and I's last trip before the lockdown, the quarantine and all that, was to Japan, and a lot of the folks there were wearing masks. And my husband and I were like, "Oh, that seems smart, but maybe like a little much." Now I think it's changed my perspective because I'm a huge germaphobe, and I get sick on every trip I've ever gone on. So yes, I'm going to be wearing a mask. Now I don't think that, you know, I don't know. I can't expect everybody to have that same, you know, opinion that I hold, but yeah, I mean, I hope food service continues to, you know, folks that are dealing with food or that are working in really close quarters with people, maybe they want to continue to do that.
And I said that was the last question, but it's something you said earlier about when your reticence about getting the vaccination.
Yeah.
You said you went and talked to friends.
Yeah.
So you just didn't take it from Dr. Fauci and the government announcements. You went around and talked to friends about it, and then came to your own conclusion.
And my family members as well, because I have very educated, thoughtful family and friends, and I'm lucky that way. And so, yes, you know, I would convey my fears, and they would say, "Well, I understand, Athena, but A, B, C, D, E, F, G," or you know. Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, anything else you'd like to add on this day, the Mother's Day of May?
I'd love to wish my mom
2021.
again for like the third time, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And I just want to say that, you know, it's been an interesting journey. You know, I've never been through a pandemic, and I don't think a lot of people have. And so it's been interesting, but I've been able to roll through it. And I don't know, I'm just glad I'm here. And I'm glad that my health is intact. And I am so sorry for the loss of life that occurred over the you know, pandemic. So, and that continues to happen. So,
Well, thank you very much.
thank you.
Bye-bye.